Good morning. Let me hit all the buttons. All right. So beautiful. Let me check back over here and see if I'm live. Yes. Let me pull this up on my phone really quick. Give me just a second so I can make sure I can see when you're here or when you make a comment. Just a second so I can make sure All right. Good morning, Wendy, out on the seas. Good morning, Sean. It's so good to have you guys here. So how's everybody doing this morning? Let's see here the comments. Nope. You know, Facebook is so strange. Sometimes I can see the comments on my desktop and sometimes I cannot. Today I cannot. So thank goodness I do have my phone on. Good morning, Angela. Good morning. So I have, I thought about what would be a good affirmation and journal prompt for today. But today, as most of you know, because I've talked about it a little bit, I'm working on my morning journal affirmations. Oh, good. I've been sharing a little bit about Stacey Lauren's The Wealth Experiment that's going to be she's going to be talking about today at 1:00 Eastern. And so in view of that, I decided that we needed a money affirmation and journal prompt. So, and who couldn't use a little bit more moolah in their life, right? It doesn't matter where you're at in that financial thing. We can always use a little bit more. Even if we have a lot, if we have a little bit more, we can help a few more people, right? And that's one of the things that comes up for me as I'm thinking about this financial part, because a lot of people really, really chastise the very wealthy. And the thing is that if you chastise anyone for having wealth or for what they do with their wealth, then you're pushing wealth away. Whether you believe that or not, you are. And so you might find that you can get a little bit, but you can never get enough. Good morning, Carrie. And so it's an important distinction to think about. Anytime you hear of someone doing something what you feel is stupid with their money, well, it's their damn money, right? Whatever they do with it. The thing is that by having that thought, if it's pushing it away, is it serving you? No, it's not. So you can either find humor in the fact that they're doing things with it you never would, or make that as a lesson. Good morning, Janet, of how if you all of a sudden had this windfall come to you, that you wouldn't spend it that way, right? Good morning. I'm here from Puerto Plata, Dominican Republic. Yay. So good to have you here. We've missed you. Of course, I've thought about you on the water all this time. And I thought, well, I'm sure she's having a good time. So thank you for joining us this morning. And so I talked about this one time before, not too long ago, because I saw this person on I think it was on Instagram, and she was showing these. Good morning, Linda. She was showing these boots, and they were rain boots, and she was showing what the prices of these rain boots were, and she was chastising the wealthy for spending this kind of money on the boots, right? And so, like, the cheapest pair she showed us was like $200, I think, if I remember right, for this pair of rain boots. And then they went up to where they were thousands of dollars for this pair of rain boots. And so to me, it's like, if you've got $1 million sitting in your bank account and you want a pair of rain boots and it costs you $5,000. It doesn't seem like much, right? It only seems like much when $5,000 is a good portion of what you got, right? Or if you think nothing else is coming. And so it's a good thing to look at, and it's all in perspective, right? And I was working with someone yesterday, and there are so many layers to what our conflicts with money are. And so as I was talking to this person, we discovered that one of her things is that as a child, she always felt like she had to be the good girl in order to get any praise or anything. And so she always feels like if she's not good enough, then she doesn't deserve money. So she goes above and beyond in everything she does and exhausts herself because she feels like that's the only way she deserves it. So if she's not doing enough, she sabotages. And then I talked to another person that one of the things that has happened to them several times is that they accumulated money, they had a good business, and then they had someone who did them wrong, embezzled money, and then suddenly it was all gone. And they had that happen more than once, right? And so there's a mental thing that's going on in there in both those scenarios that no matter what they do, they're almost not going to be able to accumulate a lot or not for long. And so a reason I'm telling you all this is because if you see a pattern in what's going on in your life, because remember, there's patterns everywhere, right? Or as my great niece used to say, patterns. And so it's really, really interesting for us to go back and look and see what is showing up. And if it shows up more than once, then it's really something to be looking at. And so this is something that I helped those clients yesterday with that, because a lot of that we don't see until we really sit with someone and we visit it, and they can say, well, wait a minute, look at this and help. And that may not be you at all. The thing is, I just want you to know that if you've got these limiting beliefs about money, then it's going to be hard to accumulate money. And we want money for a lot of different things. And usually it's because we'll be so happy when we don't have to worry and stress, right? And the thing is that it has to have a greater purpose in order to accumulate a lot. And to me, I want to accumulate a lot, but a lot of it is because there are so many people that I want to help, some foundations that I would love to create. There's so much. And that the only way that I can do that is if I get to be where I have a good bit of money, right? And so it's important to me, but it's not important to me just for my comfort, just for my happiness, but it's for affecting others. And, and it doesn't have to be something like that for you, but it needs to be a big enough why good morning, Norma Jean, that you will follow through with the things that you want to do or that you say you'll do, right? And money, really, when you think about it, one of the holdbacks that I used to have a long time ago was that I had an uncle, and he's since passed, but he was very wealthy and he was my mentor. He was so amazing. But one of the things that he did business after business, and he would sell the business and he would buy the buildings, and he did a lot. And but he always seemed to be so focused on his business, and it was almost like he was married to it as well as my aunt, right? And what I came to realize later was that it wasn't that he had to do that. It was that he loved that business so much that it felt good to him to pour into the business, to be there on his day off and help some of his employees and all of those things, right? And he demanded a lot of them because he was so willing to pour into them. And once I got to the place where I realized that that was his choice and it wasn't something that everybody had to do to have money, then I relaxed with it a little bit, because before that I thought, well, hell, if I want something that is going to take all of my time and I can't do anything for me, I can't have fun, I can't enjoy things, right? So has anybody else ever had any of those feelings like, in order to have this business and make it really work, then I will not have time for me and I'll just be working 24/7 basically. And that's kind of how I was feeling at that time, because I was watching what he was doing, even though it wasn't work to him, it looked like work to me. And so it took me a while to get to this place where I recognized that it didn't have to be that way, that I could still, hold on a sec. But I could still be relaxed and let things flow if I wanted to, right? I didn't have to have that grind and grind and grind. That's the masculine side of things. And it was okay for me to be used inspired action and make things work, right? And so it's a thing that we work on. And like I've shared with you guys the book, and I'll put the link in the comments. I'll put a note, so I'll make a note. Um, and it's by Florence Scovel Shen, and it's The Game of Life and How to Play It. And she has so much insight in there. And it's an old book. I think she wrote it in the 30s, but I'm not remembering. I may not be remembering right. But it's still relevant today, even though she's using older terminologies about business and about personal goals and things like that. It's still very relevant, because if we can look at the game of life, the game of finances and everything as being an adventure, and one that we can keep learning and growing into, then everything can change, right? So the main thing is to get where we can, hold on, I just realized I had not copied and pasted my stuff over here. So where are you guys when it comes to money? Are you feeling good about money? Do you open to talking about money? Does it feel like that is a no-no? Where do you fall in there? If you're a person that openly can have conversations about money and it feels good, put a 1. And if that's not you, put a 2. Let's see if we got anything going on over here. And there's a delay here if this is even still working. So somebody, oh, beautiful, Carrie. All right. Thank you for responding. Janet, thank you. Thank you. So we got a little mixed bag there. Linda, thank you. And getting better, close to a 1. Yes, beautiful, Angela. Well, the thing is that one of the things that will help us tremendously, regardless of where we are, is if we can, like I said earlier, we can look at the patterns that are showing up around money for us. And because it's like I've talked before about we have a financial thermostat, right, of what we believe we deserve, or we believe we're capable of making, or what we're capable of keeping. And because that's why when like a lot of lottery winners, when they get their money, they're so excited, they're happy and everything. But in 1 to 2 years, the majority of them, I think the number was like 90% of the people that win a large, significant amount are deeper in debt than they were before after 1 to 2 years, because their mental place that they have their thermostat set at was not anywhere near there. And their natural thing, remember, our subconscious mind works behind the scenes, Yeah, works behind the scenes continuously to keep us safe, right? And so if you go outside of your thermostat, so let's say you're one of those people that you make $150,000 a year, and you've been doing it for a long time. That's your thermostat. You're good. You can pay your bills. You can travel just a touch. You can do things. You're not, everything's good, right? But you would really like to have more. And all of a sudden, you pick the lottery numbers and you've won this $50 million. Wouldn't that be nice, right? Well, your subconscious mind is suddenly going to say, oh my God, we can't handle that kind of money. So let's see what we need to do. And it's going to start drawing people to you that are going to want your money. And you can say it's because you won all that money, right? But there are people that win a lot of money and they don't get inundated with every Tom, Dick, and Harry wanting some of their money. Some of them do. And so you have to think, well, what is the difference, right? And so then you might end up investing in business. Good morning, Mark. You might invest in business and you lose it all. Maybe you have you're married or whatever, and then your partner decides, well, they don't want to be with you anymore, and they take half your money. Maybe you get this habit of overspending and giving to your friends and everything. So in 1 to 2 years, that money that was so amazing is not there anymore. You're deep in debt. And a lot of people that have won the lottery like that, and they said it was the worst thing that ever happened to them, was winning that money, because it wrecked their place of who they were and what they felt comfortable with, right? And so unless we raise this thermostat, you can get this job, you can go to an event and you can learn all kinds of ways to exponentially bring wealth to you, right? And you can diligently work at it, and sometimes you can make it happen. But if you've got these beliefs, it usually won't work. It's mindset. But if you can make it work, it's not going to work for long because it's mindset. So the best thing you can do right here, right now, is figure out what are the patterns that are showing up in your life around money, right? So let's go ahead and let's dive into our affirmation, because if you can get in touch with what the patterns are and start working toward reframing them and getting outside of your normal thermostat of your financial abilities, right? Then this is going to be beautiful. So I'm going to share this affirmation, and then you tell me how you feel when you say it, okay? All right. The affirmation is, I am a money magnet, attracting wealth and prosperity with a smile and a wink. All right. So now when you say that to yourself, who feels like, yes, I want that so bad, it feels good? And who feels like, ooh, that just doesn't feel right? Because it's going to be a little bit telling right now if it feels believable or not believable. And one of the things that's beautiful about doing these, Carrie, so meaning it feels not believable. So one of the things that we can do with the law of attraction, and like there's bits and pieces that have to all come together to make it all work, right? Okay, beautiful. So when we say this, we use our imagination. So one of the things that's beautiful is if you can work to where you use your imagination and things are not future paced. I had to think of how you say it. Not future paced and not in the past, but in the now. So that's why it says, I am a money magnet, not I'm going to be. I want to be or I choose to be. It's I am. And remember, anything that comes after the words I am have so much power in our lives, because that is us taking ownership of that, right? So as you do this affirmation today, I want you to not only, say it, but to give it belief, give it meaning, and give it your full attention. And one of the things that will help is if you, as you're saying it, you give it those inflections when you are like, if you were saying, um, let's say you're a good parent, right? So if you were saying, I am a good parent, I have kids that love me, I do things with my children, say that differently than saying, I'm a good parent, I have good kids. You see the difference? And we want to give it that emotion that expresses that it's true, that it feels, and it gives the believability. And remember, our subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between truth and fiction. And so it's going to start looking for ways to make this true or evidence to make this true. And it doesn't happen overnight, right? And that's why, like I was working with someone yesterday, is because they're wanting to do some bigger moves. And so we're doing hypnosis to help her to get past some of these limiting beliefs that she has. And can you do it on your own? Hell yeah, you can. It's just a little bit longer process. And what happens a lot of times, from my experience, speaking from me, not just the clients, right? Sometimes when you do something over and over and over again and you don't see any results, it's like, oh. So just think, if you've ever been a person that diets and you go on a diet and I've been on some diets that, hell, I was starving half the time, right? And if I got on the scale and nothing moved, I think, I've been working so hard. I've been doing everything I'm supposed to do. Why is it not working? And if it happened more than once, it's like, well, this doesn't work. And I would stop. And, and so a lot of times, as people are doing these things and they don't see this instant gratification, which we've gotten so accustomed to with everything, right? Then they just give up. And so I want to really, really emphasize that you don't stop, because, one of the things is we don't know exactly when it's going to work. And gosh, there's a story, is it Acres? I don't remember. But anyway, in this story, and I don't remember who tells it either. So if anybody remembers, let me know. But there's a guy that's got some property and he farms on it and he does all these things, but he doesn't have a lot of money. But it's during the gold rush days, and he starts getting this gold rush fever because he hears about these people that are getting so wealthy by gold mining. And so he decides that he's going to sell his property. He's going to take the money and get the tools that he needs. And he's going to go to where other people are going to find the gold, right? And so he sells his house for almost nothing because he doesn't think it's worth anything. And then he goes. And while he's gone to try to find the gold, good morning, Kimmy. The person that he sold the farm to, or the property to, is out one day on the little river and runs through it. And he sees something that catches his eye, and he reaches down and he picks up this big blob, like a stone, right? And he thought it looked really cool. He takes it back to his house and he puts it on the mantle. And he just thought it was a good shape. And somebody comes to visit him. And when they come to visit, he says, what are you doing with that? And he said, well, I found that in the river and I thought it just looked cool. And he said, do you realize that's gold? And he said, no. And so he got it down and he looked at it and it was gold. It turns out that it was one of the biggest gold mine discoveries. The gold discoveries was in this part of this river. So the man became ultra wealthy, right? And the man who sold it ended up dying while he was out trying to find the gold. And he had it in his own backyard. And so I know it may not sound like that has anything to do with this, but it does, because a lot of times we give up because we're looking out there for all the gold when it's right here, right? And so if we can work on our inner dialogue and we can work on our inner beliefs, change our thermostat for what we think we're capable of or deserving of or whatever, then we're gold, right? And so as you're saying this, make sure you're giving it the emphasis like, I know this is going to happen. I know this is me. This is me. I take ownership of it. So I am a money magnet attracting wealth and prosperity with a smile and a wink. Now, if I could wink, I'd do it, but I'm not a winker. So don't even laugh at that. Well, you can if you want to. Hell, I do. All right. So now we're going to go ahead and go to the journal prompt. How are you guys feeling so far? You got it? You understand what I'm saying? Are you feeling okay with it? Are you feeling like bullshit? I don't know. What are you thinking? Somebody love this. Okay, good, Carrie. Good, good. All right. Yes, beautiful. Thank you, Janet. All right. So our journal prompt is, what playful and positive actions can I take today to draw more financial abundance into my life? Positive attracts positive. Yes. Possible. Yes, Linda. Beautiful. So today, as you're playing this game of life, right? And you're thinking about this abundance and what is your patterns that are going on in your life around money, or the lack of money, or how much your money stays with you, and all of those things, right? They're all important to look at. Then as we do that, let's look at what playful, and I like the playful because one of the things that we want to do is we want to make our relationship with money fun and playful, not one that we dread to look at our bank account, not one that we hate putting all the stuff on the forms to fill out for our taxes. And that's another one, the tax thing, right? Well, sometimes we get so inundated with people talking about how bad the tax is and how much the tax is and everything that we don't want to pay tax, right? So how do you not pay tax? You don't have money, right? So every time we are saying things about the IRS, about the government that takes and takes and takes, right? We're almost putting the brakes on everything then too, because words are powerful, thoughts are powerful. So think about that. So I would like to be making enough money that I pay triple in tax, or even quadruple in tax that I pay now, right? Think about it. Because if you don't want to be paying any more tax than what you do now, you'll never make any more money than what you make now. It will probably get less because taxes go up, right? So think about what you're saying. I'm just saying, think about it. And so we want to be playful. We want to be open and positive about all the things around money. So like I talked about the boots earlier, right? Chastising a wealthy person for spending what you feel like is an exorbitant amount of money on boots. Well, what about that guy that buys a plane? You know, How do you feel about that? Can you find joy inside that that person had the ability to buy the plane? What about someone who buys an island? So can you find it where you can be happy about that? Because there's more than enough wealth to go around. It seems to stay with certain people, right? Certain people, but that's because that's what we believe, right? And so being open to more, to being knowing that just because you saw someone what you feel like is squandering their money doesn't mean they're taking any from you. They're not. And that the more happy you can become about someone else's prosperity, the more the money's going to come to you. So, with your journal prompt today, what playful and positive actions can you take today to draw more financial abundance into your life? So, maybe one of the things that you could do is be saying the affirmation, doing this journal prompt and just writing out everything, doing these processes, right? But maybe another thing is maybe it's to take a course in financial literacy. Maybe it's to read a book like the Game of Life and how to play it. Maybe there's a buy chickens. All right. Cool, Linda. And so maybe it is like, remember today at 1 p.m. Eastern is Stacy's wealth experiment thing. Maybe it's go to that and you can still register. So I'll put the link in the comments and everything when we get done, and just go. And if you can't go, go ahead and register, because then you get the replay and then you can watch it when you want to. But what if you watch that, you go to that workshop, and some nugget that you really need falls in your lap and it's like, oh, I never thought of that. Right? Because sometimes we're not supposed to get the whole damn thing at once. We're supposed to get the little nuggets of something that resonate with where we are, but they also push us to where we want to be. And so just like with what we do here in the mornings with that every day with affirmation and the journal prompt, not every affirmation and journal prompt is going to resonate with you. Not everybody shows up every time. But you have the ability to go back and watch the replay. And I even, on the description, I will put the affirmation and the journal prompt so you don't have to watch the whole thing if you don't want to. However, I love all the things that we talk about and that kind of stuff, right? So, but you're not meant to take it all. Remember when I was talking about that there's 50 billion bits of information that are coming at us all the time, right? And we only have the bandwidth to see 2,000 of them. And so what's going on around us, there's so much of it we don't even see, we don't hear or anything. But the more you can get in touch with your financial acumen, I guess, with your changing your thermostat, because if your thermostat on your finances is really low, there could be an opportunity right here for you make $1 million in no time flat, but you ain't going to see it because that's not in your 2000, right? Good morning, Mitzi. So let's change our focus a touch, right? So as you're looking today with this question, what playful and positive actions can I take today to draw more financial abundance into my life? If you write that out and you take a few moments to just be silent, to go inside, stop the chatter, and then you just brain dump everything that comes up. And I say this every single time. However, it bears repeating. The first thing that comes out of your thoughts, put it down on the paper, regardless of how ridiculous it sounds. If it doesn't even sound like it relates to the damn thing you just said, write it down anyway, because your subconscious mind is talking to you. And the first things that come out come from your subconscious mind. And after it goes and does its thing, then the conscious mind's going to start putting things in there. So we're really wanting to get the subconscious thoughts, those innermost thoughts that half the time we don't even know are there. And so use the time today to explore this. And then if you can, come to the thing today at 1 p.m. Eastern, because like I said, there's going to be a nugget in there, and maybe even more than one, that is going to have you thinking, well, maybe this is possible. Maybe, right? I don't know. I can't speak for you. I know for me, every time I have a conversation with Stacy, there's a nugget that I find. And so every time she's doing something like this, I want to tell everybody, come and listen, because there's gold in those words. And I want you to have your gold that's right here instead of looking for it somewhere else. Utilize what we've got. So today at 1 o'clock, she's going to be talking this workshop. It's going to be amazing. It's the wealth experiment. And then in the meantime, do this. See what comes up. I'm going to put a link for that book as well, so that you can get that book. And then there's a book by Tony Robbins. It's a financial book that talks a lot about financial literacy and things. So there are things that we can do that lift us up. It's a listening, it's a learning. It's not so much action right away, right? So let's assess where we're at and make decisions and be playful. Have fun, right? Because what in the hell is life worth if it's never any fun? And why do people that seem to just be go, all about the money, going and going and going, it seems like they die really early, right? Because they don't even give themselves a chance to take a breath. And I'll be honest, when I'm working on a certain project or anything, I can almost feel myself doing that. And I have to step back and say, wait a minute, take a breath. Go sit down, go sit outside, go for a walk, hug a tree, do something, get grounded. And then that's when I get the ideas and the things that help me go forward, right? So we have to give ourselves the space to allow all of this stuff to happen within us, right? It's important. So let's go back to our affirmation for today. And I'll put this on an index card, your sticky notes, the screensaver on your phone. I don't care if you write it on the wall, anywhere you can put it, so that this is what you're focused on today. And then, one of the things that would be cool, I think, and I'm trying to figure out how to. Good, Janet. Good, Linda. Yes. So one of the things too, I think is I'd almost like to create like a poster board that has like the affirmations on there, that ones that I really like, but I think then I'd end up having to put them all over the wall. So I don't know. I'm trying to figure it out, what's going to work for me. But there are some that I want to keep looking at every day, and some I want to just fluctuate, here and there, right? And I mean, I share these every day. So it's not like you can say every single one of them every day. How long have I been doing this? For quite a while, right? So there's a long list. So today, and maybe just over the weekend, really focus on this and just see what comes up for you. And that might help you see some of those patterns that are showing up that maybe need and are asking for your attention, right? So I am a money magnet, attracting wealth and prosperity with a smile and a wink. So utilize it, right? And then what I like to say is get your notebook out, your journal out, put the date on it, put the affirmation and the journal prompt, get into that quiet space, and then just brain dump and just write out as much as you can. No judgment, nothing. Just write it out. And then when you look at it, you might even see some patterns in there, right? But the interesting thing to me is that when you come back and you look at it again in 30 days, 6 months, a year, whatever it is, you're going to see some things that you think, oh, I didn't even remember that I thought that. I didn't even remember that was one of the positive actions that I was going to take. And I did. And look how that turned out. So it is really a great way to be able to come back and see our growth and see our progress as we've moved forward with this every single day, because it's powerful. Remember, 1% change every day, exponential growth, right? So you don't have to be doing a hell of a lot. It is right here that it really makes the difference. And then as that difference happens, all of this changes. All right, so I have to get off here. I've got to get to work. I have an early client, and I'm so excited to have had you here today. So thank you for joining me. You have an exceptionally, you're welcome, Carrie. You're welcome. An exceptionally playful and positive day. And I will see you tomorrow, 10 a.m. Eastern, right here. Mwah.